Hi there. Today I'm really excited to try out, and I've been meaning to do this forever, these ProMarkers. These are like top of the line skin tone markers, and I am really interested to see how these stack up against really inexpensive markers. So I use alcohol markers extensively, and I tend to be very highly opinionated about them, especially the nibs. And when it comes to the actual ink itself, I think all alcohol brands, marker brands, whether they're super expensive like these ones or super cheap, I think they all are the same, to be honest. So this is like really putting my theory about that to test. So I'm going to be creating a face chart inspired work today. After I complete it using these, I will let you know my thoughts. And then I'm also going to be taking this face from today's and bringing it over to my mixed media channel because I have been dying to test out whether pan pastels over alcohol markers works as awesomely as I think it does. I have some very talented students who study with me over at Awesome Art School who have been doing this. And I really want to try it for myself and let you know what happens. So yeah, so a little two-parter today, but first things first, let's get testing these and see what the fuss and the price tag is really all about. All right, I have never tried these before. I have their watercolor markers, which they look exactly the same. But these come with a really, really hefty price tag. Okay, so that's a nice nib. Darn it. Really wanted to find some faults. I already like it. Shoot. Yeah, nice, squishy, soft nib. And chisel. Pretty standard chisel. You know, there's only so much you can do with nibs, but that brush nib is really nice. So also sort of color swatching here. This one seems to be more of a pink base, but this is definitely the same tone as this, just a little bit darker. It's another thing I like to be testing for. These have a lot more odor, I do have to say, than I think the normal colors that I work with, which is, my favorites are Copics, but that's just something I'm noticing off the back. And since you can't smell on YouTube, I thought I would share that with you. Now this has like more yellow in it. And these two really match up nicely. And I could see these going a little bit nicely as well. This one is a little yellowy, which I don't super love. Oh, I see. But you could use these ones together. You could do this and this. I think the jump from here to here is a little bit too much probably for some people. Oh, and then this is like a whole new tone altogether. So, and again, I think the jump from these both have sort of a red base, is a little bit too much for people. So as a whole set, as far as skin tones are concerned, the color selection is not my favorite. Normally I look for 3 shades in a row. So it would be very clearly like 1, 2, and then the third one. But 1, 2, and then I don't see a third that goes with this color pairing. Like I wouldn't jump from here to here because this is red and this is yellow, which is, there's almost like a greenish sort of tinge to this. So as a set, I'm not loving it, and the jumps like these two are the same color family. That jump is way too big for people. That's terrifying. So nobody's gonna do that. Even someone like me, who I love me some dramatic shading, isn't gonna take the leap for this. You need something in between here. And then the color families, yeah, are really different. So I don't love this set as just far as color is concerned. But I do have to say, in fairness, that 6 is usually never enough. Unless these are 6 of like the exact same tone. What they should have done is do like 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 all in the same color family, because then at least you have a nice gradient. But when you switch color families, then you're kind kind of messing up the system because, like, again, this jump is too great, and this start is too dark. So even in really dark skinned drawings, in order to have highlights in markers, you have to have a really light tone in there somehow. So Winsor Newton I absolutely love, but in this case, the skin tone set, yeah, not my fave. I also have to say for the price point, so this 6 count retails for $30 on Amazon, but the Ohuhu 36 count set is $39. So for 10 more, you could have 30 more markers, which is bananas. And then you can also grab like my Skin Tone Secrets book and have all the infinite different skin tone possibilities already picked out for you. So that is really the suggestion that I would give you if you are looking to do skin tones. Save a ton of money and have a ton of fun. All right, let's get drawing. I'm using this reference today. I wanted something that was really fall inspired, and this one definitely fit the bill. I have these face chart references over at Awesome Art School in the YouTube and cheat sheet library for anyone who is interested. All right, let's go. We're going to start with our oval. And then you can use the reference photo to help you create those gorgeous sculpted cheekbones on either side. Make sure you put in your face guidelines. There's a line down the center to keep them vertical. And let me know in the comments if you want my face guidelines cheat sheet. I always use the same guidelines for every single face, male, female, doesn't matter. It just helps keep everything in line and on track. And then I love this ellipse template to help me create my placeholders for the eyes, which I always do 3 across to make sure you have that proper centering in the middle, and nose and mouth as well. So I'm also using the same template. I'm using the large ovals there to create my irises and my pupils, and freehanding the eyebrows over top of the eyes, lining up the tear ducts with the side of the eyebrows. I've been liking adding hair to these face chart inspired drawings. It not only helps make the project look like my own work of art and not just copying it, but it also way brings these faces more to life. And so they aren't just simply a palette for makeup, but they actually become full-blown characters. And I'm just taking the time to add some kind of hair wispies. And then I need to start planning out what markers I'm going to use. Now, I get this question a lot, which is how come my graphite doesn't bleed? And if you notice here, I am taking my eraser and kind of erasing quite a bit of it away so that my lines are super light. That way, when I start using the alcohol markers, the graphite doesn't get super smudged. It does a little bit, but I also find that is so slight that I don't even notice it. So the first thing I notice about these markers is that the nib is super bendy, which is not an advantage. It actually was so bendy that I had a hard time getting the color to lay down. And so for my second layer, I'm actually using the chisel nib because the brush nib was actually really difficult, which I was very surprised. I've actually never run into that before. So yeah, not a plus. So keep in mind the price point that's become super handy to understand. So I went for the lightest color first, and then I opted for the third color I swatched, which is more of that pink tone base. And you don't have many choices when they only give you 6 markers. So I was just using what to me looked like the next darkest shade. And as you can see, I'm following the shading pattern on my reference photo so I know where to add the lights and darks. And this right here is a great example of what I was talking about when I was swatching, saying that there's too great a jump between values. Can you see that now? yeah, we're like creating a raccoon monster. That's because, and this is one of my criticisms of the pack, was that in order to have a nice skin tone palette, you really need to have sort of one skin tone, like either pick the red family or the yellow family or whatever it is, and then just have very subtle gradations from one shade to the next. And this one, there's just a huge jump between kind of shade 2 and shade 3. It's like, we're missing like 6 shades in here. And this is the result, is what you see right here. So I have, however, so much experience with alcohol markers. I do know that if you keep layering the heck out of a project and also go back and add in some shades, even if it's not the skin shade that you're using, you can kind of make it work. I usually have faith in all of my projects. Again, I kind of always just refuse to give up and acknowledge the ugly phase because it always is there. I really just disregard it and just keep on plugging through, knowing that sooner or later the schnizzle is going to work. So this was a great example of that. Oh, well, there's some yellow. I didn't realize, I think my camera timed out. So that black pen, just so you know, was the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. I use it in 100% of all my mixed media and drawing projects. The only thing you missed there was just yellow, just doing a nice base layer of yellow all over the hair. Then I did one shade darker of orange, and then I did one shade darker again. That's what you're doing now. I really wanted to have it look like flames and fall. I was just really autumn inspired. And then this is actually like a dark red shade. If you look at the reference photo, you really see how dark, like her makeup is almost black. So it's always scary to go really bold and black, but I always feel like it's always worth it in the end. And then just using my Pentel Pocket Brush Pen to like define some of the outer areas of her hair, as well as thickening up her upper lash line, and then really blackening in those pupils. And now I'm going to give you my results and my impressions over the set overall and just what I think. So here's what I thought was so interesting, was that I think these nibs are they are too flexible. And it made it actually quite difficult to work with when I was using them for the larger spaces. Fascinating. So for the price point, I would say you can safely skip these and know with confidence that you're not missing out on anything, which is kind of awesome, because I don't know about you, but sometimes when I see the super high price items, something about it makes me want them more. You know, you're like, they must be so good for them to be so much, right? But honestly, it just like reaffirms my belief that honestly all alcohol markers are great. So like these ones by Artbeak, and I'm going to be doing another demonstration with these. These are scents. And they just sent me a giant pack. I've demoed them before. You can click the link on the screen right now to go check out that demonstration. Super fun real-time video. And then if you want to see my experiment with pen pastels on this one, then you can choose that from this end screen as well. And happy arting. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section, and I would love it if you could click the like. Really helps. Thanks. Bye.